Hey guys, Booligan here with Booligan Shooting Sports. Today, I'm introducing you to my latest kind of ridiculous project build. This is my replica or, clone inspired build of a LaFrance M16K. For those of you that have never seen this platform before, I invite you to watch Naked Gun or a couple of episodes of Miami Vice, or really just kind of have a fever dream after playing with an M16A1. The original of this gun was built by Tim LaFrance, was designed by him, and the whole idea was going to be the original PDW, the original, vehicle-born, something for, vehicle protection and VIP protection, but something very small, fully automatic, because the originals were built on M16 receivers. Just very, very compact little machine guns. Now, they designed these in the 1980s. They built them through the 1980s up until they kind of couldn't anymore for civilian sales. They did build some of these for semi-automatic, and he built a couple different variants that used different calibers, including a 45 variant that used Thompson submachine gun magazines. But the general idea was just to have something very, very compact and give you, rifle firepower in a very small package. I've always loved the design of these things and the engineering that went into them, and finally decided, it's time to build one of these myself. So I pieced together the parts, most of this from Fulton Armory. There is one part that I ordered from another retailer, these handguards. I ordered from another retailer, retrorifles.com, without really reading any reviews on retrorifles.com. And that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I still haven't received them. But luckily, when Fulton Armory got these short A1 style carbine handguards in stock, I messaged them and said, hey, can you guys help me out here? And they did. They came through and shipped them pretty much immediately. And now I have this complete build. So I'm going to have a complete build list put together in the comments. There will be a link to the build list. And I highly, highly recommend, if you want to build anything sort of retro styled AR, go to Fulton Armory. They're awesome. They're just super awesome to work with. They have what you need in stock. Their prices are great. They ship fast, even like during this holiday season. And you can build ridiculous things like this. So enough of a plug for them. Let's talk about this particular build and why it is the way that it is. The lower is basically a kind of box stock pistol type lower. I'm running a Shockwave blade pistol stabilizer that has the adjustment lever that you can get from. It was designed by Vin Wen, who does a lot of 3D printed parts, and he designed it and you can buy it. I'll have a link as well for that, but it just makes adjusting the Blade 2.0 much easier. I went with the Blade 2.0 because I had one laying around and I really do like it. It's a very nice pistol brace setup. The lower on this, unfortunately, is just a basic Palmetto State PA-15. Nothing crazy. I bought one super inexpensive for like $30 locally, and it works fine. There is an Anderson lower parts kit and A1 grip, which came from Fulton Armory. So the lower is nothing too exciting. We do have an H2 buffer in here because with this type of gas setup, you generally want to run an H2 buffer. Up top, you have a slick side A1 upper, and it is just pure sex. The thing just looks great. There's something about, a true carry handle that just looks really, really awesome. The original LaFrance M16K had a double ghost ring, like hoop, just a loop up front that was brazed in place on the carry handle. The idea being you line up the two circles and it just kind of projects a little bit of a circle for you to put on your target. These things weren't exactly designed to be precision marksman rifles. They were designed to put 20 rounds very quickly in a bad guy, 10, 20 feet away. And the double ghost ring design worked pretty well for that. I decided, one, I didn't want to do any brazing or modification, any permanent modifications to this A1 upper. So I went ahead and I designed and 3D printed a drop-in front sight for carry handle uppers. It's a 2-piece printed part. You got this guy and you got this little nut here. And there's M3 hardware that's kind of hidden in there a little bit. But that way it's modular. It's not adjustable. So you have to kind of dial in what your gun is doing. On A1s, the rear sight is adjustable for windage, but not for elevation. So for elevation, you really need to find out what your gun is doing. So I have a couple of different front sight options for height. I did design it originally with that front ghost ring. This is an early prototype one where it's got kind of a crack there. But I did design it with a double ghost ring, but I also designed it with, let's see a little bit better, a front post as well. Just because the front post, even on this short of a sight radius, is very fast to acquire, especially because I bored out that rear sight on one of these just a little bit. One of the apertures I bored out just to make it a little bit faster for snap shooting and alignment. But you could play around with this setup and have different height front posts or different height front ghost rings, so that you can, you know, really actually get moderately okay accuracy from this tiny little guy. Up front is where things get really, really weird. This is chambered in 5.56. I did put up a poll on whether you guys wanted to see it in 5.56, excuse me, or whether you wanted to see it in 300 blackout. 300 blackout would obviously be more useful. It would be less concussive. If I decided to throw a can on it, it would be suppress a lot better. But I like the fireballs. I like the big boom. And you guys do too, which is why 5.56 won in my poll on my social media. And we have an 8.5 inch 5.56 NATO barrel with a pistol length gas system. You can kind of see this in the top. It's a little bit complex. The original LaFrance had a super cool system. It was actually kind of carbine length gas system, except for it had a dual tube design. So it had one tube going back, but it also had like a little expansion chamber so that it would just increase your dwell time and it would just make it run a little bit more reliably. It would lower the rate of fire because short gas systems and fully automatic have just a stupid high rate of fire. It would lower it to like 800 rounds per minute, something a little bit more consistent and aimable instead of a bullet hose. I'm not running this full auto, so I don't really care about that. So this has a pistol length gas system to operate the gun. And up front, there is a second low profile gas block that is mounted to a backwards mounted handguard cap with a some M3 hardware going through it to keep it in place. I'm gonna get something a little bit prettier here up front so you don't have this little, you know, nub of a screw up front. But just to get the thing put together, this is kind of, you know, how it runs right now. The handguards, again, as I said, are A1 style carbine length handguards. They're that nice triangle profile. They're actually really comfortable. And up front, I need to add a sling mount because you would be running a sling from the stock on the M16K, in this case the brace, up to the front. It's like just a normal like sporting rifle style sling mount. It's nothing crazy. The original M16Ks had a Vortex style flash hider, and I might grab one of those in the very near future here. The reason why I don't have one is because it's about $100 to get one of those flash hiders on, and having a flash hider kind of interferes with the goal of having the big boom and the big fireball. So I've got a Strike Industries Warthog mini comp, which is kind of known as being one of the most obnoxious compensators on the market, especially in a short barreled AR. This is an 8.5 inch barrel. This thing is going to be obscene amounts of muzzle blast and just fireball coming out the front. It's probably going to be extremely uncomfortable to shoot. So this may stay on for some low light footage and, you know, some range time, but I can always just throw on either a bird cage, you know, standard bird cage flash hider to really test how well a flash hider will hide flash. but I also may just end up tracking down that appropriate Vortex flash hider because they do look very, very, very good, and they just look appropriate on the build. So, but overall, that's kind of your overview here on my clone-ish build of a LaFrance M16K. I'm really happy to have this thing built. I'm really happy to have the help and the support of Fulton Armory on this thing. As I said before, if you guys need anything that is retro AR style, they should be your first place to shop. If they don't have it in stock, email them. They might have it in stock sooner than you think. Next video on this guy will be out at the range, where we go and we see how well it performs, how violent this this muzzle brake makes it, combined with that 8.5-inch barrel, and just how awesome 1980s style. I mean, I'm paying my homage to Miami Vice. I got my pastels on. I'm ready. I'm ready to go for this thing. So, yeah, put in the comments what you guys would like to see as targets for this thing. Would you guys like to see some low light footage? It's a little tricky for me to get low light footage, but I'll do it for you guys because I love you all. And yeah, what do you want to see done with this thing here on the channel? So many thanks to the supporters and the subscribers. I'm going to release the files for this you know, add-on front sight because it's a sweet little setup and other people may find it useful. So I'll release these files through my normal channels on my websites. Yeah, let's see what you guys can build with cool stuff like this. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.